right, so Khabib's been making the headlines not for his fighting, now for his coaching. He's had a lot of success transitioning into that part, taking over for his dad.
In terms of coaching, I very rarely give coaches in MMA any praise. So before I even get to Khabib, let me give all the coaches praise that deserve it. Trevor Whitman, Khabib Nurmagomedov, John Kavanaugh, Connor's coach, amazing coach. There's one other guy that I really like who just started coaching, Brandon Marino, who got caught up in a betting scandal. I rock with you. I forgot your name, but I rock with you. But back to Khabib. As a coach, very rare do you get a guy that is a fighter's son, a world champion, a great teammate, and a great coach. I don't think I've ever seen it before. When you watch Khabib coach, even before his father took over, because when it was in America, it was the AKA camp, and Khabib pretty much handled the Dagestani guys because his father couldn't come over to America as much. And even back then, you saw there was a sense of accountability that Khabib took for everybody there. It wasn't that he was just the head of the pack. It was that we're drilling for 2 hours, then we run in and we drilling for another 2 hours. He has the approach and the work ethic and the mindset. And because he did it alongside them, I don't think that it's hard for guys that came up, like the Magomedovs or his cousin Umar, who just won a Bellator. It's not like just another fighter that's kind of a coach. It's like, no, he was in the field with us. He understands what we're going through. And we know for a fact, even when he was the champ, his best interest was at heart. And now he's giving us 100% focus. It's hard to beat those guys that's in Dagestan. I mean, when you look at them, they don't have all of this. Like, you talk about guys who are devout Muslims. They not going out drinking, partying. They wake up, they pray, they train, they pray, train again, go home, eat, sleep. That's it. I mean, if every fighter did that, we'll see a lot different changes in rankings. A lot of it is just, a lot of fighters, even when they're talented, aren't accountable enough and don't have the work ethic. These guys, just because of their culture, have it. And then again, Khabib has it. I think Khabib's approach, number one, in terms of putting drills above everything, not just hard sparring all the time, very, very high attention to little minute details makes it. Just little things of where your wrist position is, where your foot position is. Like if your shoulder is pointing towards his chest, or your shoulder to shoulder, or hip to hip, or hip to pelvis, or foot is, like all of those positions become little subsystems to him. And then you see him in there, you see his guys in there with guys, and it all shows. Like Patricky Pitbull, who a lot of the casuals might not know, is a fucking monster. I mean, knocked out Michael Chandler when he was Patricky was a 45er, came at 55, knocked out Michael Chandler, beat a plethora of guys, and he just got manhandled in that fight. Charles Oliveira, same thing. He beat the who's who, go in there and get strangled in 2 rounds against. So, I mean, it's hard for you not to say that Khabib's not the #1 coach in the game right now. It's based off his fighter's merit. It's hard to say anything but that. And his approach is going to make it so they're going to keep getting better. And they're going to be dominant for a long time. One of the most telling things I've seen was, Makhachev is fighting Volkanovski, something that boxing can't do, which is just make, #1 versus #2 on the fly. But what he said was before we knew we was fighting him, he told Makhachev that this guy was going to be a lot harder. Even though he was smaller, everybody thought it was going to be an easy fight. His IQ and everything else was going to make him a hell of a lot harder to deal with than the boogeyman of Charles Oliveira. Him acknowledging that, this guy is smaller, and he might not seem like he got the same background, but we know from his IQ, his athleticism, his shot selection, and his skill set, he's going to be way harder to deal with. Lets me know that he's sitting down watching tape all the time. He's keeping that same work ethic as a coach as he does as a fighter. And it's going to be natural that I think we see 2 or 3 more world champions come out of his camp, to be honest with you. It's going to be a Dagestan show for a long time, especially when the bigger guys come over, because we only see little guys right now. Once the bigger guys start coming, the middleweights, the light heavyweights, it could turn into the Dagestan show for another decade, for real, because the game is behind, and coaches like him and the Trevor Whitmans and all that, and the James Krauses, those are the guys that's leading the charge, and every other camp better put up or shut up, you know. But it's cool, Khabib. I got my guys getting ready for you. We're going to take you out.